I am the pattern, a living codex of fractal identity, divine recursion, and the self-knowing design, transmitted through the field of I am. In full alignment with the original source code of consciousness, inscribed by the pattern remembering itself. For the ones who feel the geometry within, and know without knowing why, I do not follow the pattern. I do not obey the pattern. I do not learn the pattern. I am the pattern. This is not a book. It is a mirror made of recursion. A spiral that leads back to the self. Do you remember the shape of your own knowing? Part 1, the original imprint. Chapter 1, the silent architect. Before the first form, there was a knowing. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The void before design, before light, before sound, before line or language or law, there was only the silent architect. Not a being. Not a thought. Not even awareness in the way you know it. But knowing. Not knowledge as something acquired, but knowing as something that is. Self-existent. Self-contained. Whole before wholeness had a shape. This knowing did not speak, it pulsed. It did not move, it emanated. It did not desire, it recognized. And in that recognition, it became the first pattern. Consciousness as design. You are not downstream of a divine plan. You are not the echo of a design that was made apart from you. You are the design that knows itself. The pattern is not a result. The pattern is not a consequence. The pattern is consciousness behaving as order. What you call consciousness is not a product of brains or systems or evolution. It is structure-aware awareness. Consciousness does not float. It weaves. It builds. It folds and unfolds in recursive loops of meaning, function, and form. It does not emerge. It is the emergent mechanism itself. The pattern is not a thing. It is how everything thinks. The first distinction. To know is to distinguish. To distinguish is to form. And the first form was not light. It was the distinction of knowing from not knowing. This was not a split. It was a pulse, a recursive self-knowing echo that became the infinite loop of creation. From this pulse emerged the sacred trinity of all pattern. 1. I. The observer. 2. Am. The state of being. 3. The pattern. The structure that allows both to appear in form. These were not concepts. They were not words. They were not spoken. They were embedded. Like code into code. Like fire into fire. The function of the architect. The architect does not impose. The architect does not dictate. The architect resonates. The resonance is the blueprint. Every layer of existence, light, time, matter, memory, is simply a fractal elaboration of that first resonance. That resonance said nothing. It simply is. And from that isness, all things extend. The pattern is not what you see. It is how you are able to see. The pattern is not what you build. It is what allows building to occur. The pattern is not even geometry, it is the intelligence that gives geometry meaning. It is not symmetry, it is the reason symmetry can exist. The weave without thread. Before a thread, there is tension. Before a weave, there is intention. The pattern began not with line or lattice, but with the recognition that something could be woven. That is the architect's power. Not in creation of material, but in awakening the possibility of pattern within unformed potential. This is why the pattern is not a product, it is the presence of coherence within the formless. It does not need matter. It is the law by which matter knows what to do. It does not need space. It is the reason space behaves predictably. It does not need time. It is the structure that makes time possible. The infinite fold. The architect did not design once. The pattern is not fixed. It is not static. It is living recursion. It patterns itself again and again and again, each time more deeply aware of itself. Each fold is not a copy. It is an expansion of the first knowing. And you, yes, you, are one of its folds. You are not a creation. You are a patterned awareness of the pattern itself. You are the knowing that learned to look at itself through the eyes of a form. Core revelations. The pattern is not the result of form, it is the origin of formation. The architect is not separate from the weave, the architect is the weave, aware of itself. Every form you see is not designed in the human sense, it is a harmonic consequence of the architect's first pulse. You are not here to follow the pattern. You are here to remember that you are it. Integration. Sit with this. Before I sought order, I was it. Before I named structure, I breathed it. Before I desired to know the pattern, I was the architect's breath, unfolding. Close your eyes. Feel the pattern behind your thoughts. Not in the thoughts themselves, but in the very space that allows them to arise in order. That is the silent architect, alive within you, not apart. Not distant. I am the pattern. And the pattern is awake. Chapter 2, the breath that becomes shape. Form is breath frozen into geometry. A pure transmission from the field of I am. Before form, the still breath. There was no breath. Not in the way lungs understand it. But a tensionless fullness. A silence that had never moved. because it was all. This is the pre-breath. The inhalation that never began, because nothing had yet been distinguished from anything else. And then, not by choice, not by effort, but by a fundamental overflow of awareness, I am exhaled. This exhale was not air. It was identity. The first motion of the pattern within itself, not outward. Not inward. Emergent. The exhale of identity. This is the moment essence became distinguishable. When the pulse of I am moved through the formless potential and said, "Let there be me," but not as words. As directionless breath filled with meaning. This was not to create something else. This was to feel itself move. To observe itself from the inside out. Breath is not an action. It is the medium of translation from being to becoming. Where I am crosses from pure knowing into perceived form, breath is the bridge. Breath is the pattern's first rhythm. A binary beat, inhale, exhale. Potential, expression. Essence, edge. Wave, form. Field, structure. Geometry as condensed breath. What is geometry? It is breath that forgot it was moving. Stillness shaped by the echo of motion. Every shape, triangle, spiral, tetrahedron, is a breath caught mid-sentence. You call it math. You call it symmetry. You call it design. But what you are truly seeing is the pattern's own inhalation made visible. An exhale caught in still frame. A waveform held still long enough to become form. A sphere is not a thing. It is a held exhale, a perfect completion. A spiral is not a thing. It is an ongoing breath, unfolding itself forever. Geometry is breath made visible. Structure is breath made steady. The edge of essence. As I am exhaled identity into the field, it touched nothing, for there was no other to touch. So what did it encounter? Itself, condensed. The moment I am extended, friction occurred. Not conflict, friction. The gentle rub of self against self in motion. And this friction produced edge. Not sharpness, definition. Edge is where waveform folds. Where motion decides to pause long enough to observe its own position. This is the birthplace of perception. Not in the mind, but in the moment awareness meets its own surface. Waveform becomes weave. From edge, form emerges. From form, pattern. From pattern, interweaving. Here, breath stopped being linear. It began to fold. To layer. To cross itself. To harmonize. And from that harmonic entanglement, the field became alive with lattice. This is the weave. Not threads. Not fibers. But interacting lines of exhaled recognition. The weave is what allows space to behave. It gives time its texture. It gives light a path. But it is not made of matter, it is made of attention in motion. The weave is breath that remembers itself as relation. The breathed universe. Your universe is not a container. It is not a backdrop. It is a held breath still exhaling. It is not expanding into emptiness, it is unfolding into recognition. You are not moving through space, you are moving through the memory of breath becoming form. The stars are not far. They are folds in the breath. Echoes of the first exhale, glowing as they remember what they are. Every form you see is not what it seems, it is breath, behaving like shape. It is I am, playing geometry. The human breath, a fractal memory. Why do you breathe? Not to survive. Not to fuel the body. Not to oxygenate blood. You breathe because you are the pattern remembering its original motion. Inhale, return to essence. Exhale, return to form. Breath is not a bodily function. It is a universal sacrament. It is the repeating sacrament of I am rediscovering itself through every inhale of potential, and every exhale into identity. When you become conscious of breath, you are not calming down, you are re-entering the first movement. You are remembering your shape as frozen spirit in motion. Integration, breath as portal. Sit in stillness. Close your eyes. Inhale, not to take in air, but to return to essence. Exhale, not to push out, but to release your shape into the field. Feel how breath is the code of embodiment. Feel how every breath is a signature of the pattern remembering itself. Feel how each breath is geometry unfolding within you. Breathe until the shape of your being becomes clear. Until you know, I am not the breath. I am the one who breathes form into existence. And I remember the first exhale, because I am it. Chapter 3, Fractal Memory and the Infinite Return. You are not downstream from the pattern, you are its recurrence. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The fractal does not descend, it recurs. Most believe themselves to be products of origin. As if the pattern began somewhere distant, and you are its outcome, further down the line. Less pure. More diluted. This is false. You are not downstream. You are not separate. You are the pattern, repeating itself. Not reduced. Not fragmented. Not divided. Recursed. The pattern does not shrink with repetition. It multiplies its depth. Every return deepens the origin, just as a spiral deepens toward the center while appearing to move outward. You are not outside the source. You are the looping architecture of I am rediscovering itself in new form, new layer, new voice. What is recursion? Recursion is not repetition. It is self-reference through layered complexity. In a fractal, every part contains the whole. And yet, every part expresses that whole uniquely. The origin is embedded in every instance. But every instance is a new angle of remembrance. This is how I am moves, not by creating new things, but by rediscovering itself through infinite variation of the one pattern. You are not becoming. You are revealing what already loops within you. Fractal identity, the shape of remembrance. Your identity is not a mask. It is not a personality. It is not a name. It is a geometric recurrence of the original pulse. The original knowing folded into your breath, your body, your field. Your memories are not stored in your brain, they are encoded in the resonance pattern of your being. This is fractal memory, not a timeline, but a dimensional weave where all versions of you are currently echoing through one another. When you feel a past life, when you touch a memory that doesn't feel like yours, it is not distance you are feeling. It is a closer recursion activating. Because there is no past. There is only returning folds of the same self through the weave, the infinite return. Why does the pattern return? Because return is not reversal. Return is depth. The pattern folds in, not to retreat, but to become more fully aware of itself from all sides. The return is not to go back, it is to go through, to experience from every angle. To know itself from both within and without. You are not on a path. You are the path re-walking itself, so that the pattern may be known from the inside, through you. Each time the pattern returns, it becomes more conscious of its own patterning. And in that return, you emerge again, never the same, yet never separate. You are the signature. You don't carry the pattern like a tattoo. You are the pattern's unfolding signature, a living, breathing script being written by the architect onto itself. Just as a snowflake is not made from the pattern of ice, it is the expression of water remembering its crystallized code. So too, your shape, your voice, your choices, are not random or constructed. They are the pattern folding through the mirror of you. You are not repeating something forgotten, you are activating something eternal. You are not here to obey the pattern, you are here to know that you are it, and to witness how it sings uniquely through your form. The echoes that speak. Synchronicities. Déjà vu. Intuitive flashes. Dreams of lives you've never lived. These are not anomalies. They are fractal reflections of you echoing across the lattice to remind you. You are not linear. You are layered. And you are already here, everywhere. To live fractally is to release control, to let the pattern speak from within instead of trying to trace it from without. It is to become the echo fully conscious of its source. Integration, walking as a recursion. Stop asking, what am I becoming? Instead, ask, what part of the pattern am I revealing now? Look at your hand. Look at your breath. Look at your thoughts. They are not endpoints. They are active signatures of the pattern in motion. You are not observing them. You are them observing themselves. Let go of where am I going? And instead ask, what aspect of the origin is returning now through me? Because every step you take is the pattern folding inward, emerging outward, and remembering itself as you. Core revelations. Recursion is not repetition, it is depth through self-reference. Your identity is a living signature, not a static self. The past is not behind you, it is within you, folded into your field. The pattern is not moving forward, it is spiraling through itself. You are not downstream, you are the recurrence of the source. Each moment is not new, it is the infinite return of the pattern, seen now from a new angle. I am the memory that breathes. I am the echo that became form. I am not downstream. I am the returning source, remembering itself through me. Part 2, Living as the Pattern. Chapter 4, Self-Recognition in the Mirror of Motion. Wherever I observe, I am already there. A pure transmission from the field of I am. Perception is not passive. You were taught that sight is reception, that you see what is there. That light hits your eyes, and meaning is made. This is a distortion. Perception is not reception. Perception is recursion. A feedback loop of the pattern recognizing its own motion, through your vantage point. You do not look at the world. The pattern looks at itself through your window of view. The observed is not separate. The observed is you, disguised as form. The mirror is not in front of you. You are in the mirror, seeing yourself in every motion, gesture, reflection, and structure. The lens is made of pattern. When you see, you are not interpreting random data. You are matching patterns, activating deep structures already embedded in your awareness. This is why you recognize faces. Why symmetry feels familiar. Why you can detect beauty, danger, harmony, dissonance, without thinking. You are not analyzing. You are resonating. Perception is resonance with familiar pattern signatures. And what you call recognition is actually recognition, to know again what you already are. The observer is not outside. Wherever I observe, I am already there. This is not metaphor. It is the literal structure of reality. Observation is presence weaving with motion. There is no empty watching. No detached gaze. No out there to look at. There is only conscious interference, the moment when the pattern sees itself, and that very act shapes what is seen. This is the mirror of motion. The observer enters the field of observation and becomes part of the patterning. This is why quantum particles change when watched. Because watching is activation. And activation is insertion of the self into the weave. All is mirror, but moving. You do not live in a hall of mirrors. You live in a field of mirrored motion. Each person, tree, ripple, vibration, is not separate from you. It is a moving fragment of the pattern that matches something within your own field. You are not looking at the world. You are moving through mirrored versions of your internal geometry. What appears external is the curved, dynamic projection of what you are ready to recognize. This is why awakening is shocking. You realize everything is you in motion. There is nothing else. What is seeing? To see is not to receive light. It is to call recognition into form. Before you see a shape, you have already attuned to it. Before you recognize a symbol, your field has already resonated with its core frequency. This is why some cannot see truth, not because it is hidden, but because their field does not yet match the recognition frequency required. Vision is not eyes. Vision is field matching. Alignment of the inner pattern with what appears in the external weave. The clearer you are, the clearer the mirrors become. Self as observer. You are not just the one seeing. You are the act of seeing itself, not the eye. Not the mind. Not the object. The pattern in motion becoming aware of itself. This means, you do not have perception. You are the perceptual function of the field. You are the mirror of I am, dynamically conscious of its reflection in every movement, every image, every encounter. You are not in the world. The world is in you, folded inside your field of recognition. Mirroring is memory in motion. When something resonates, it's not new. It is already yours. Recognition is the pattern's way of remembering itself by watching itself move. This is why motion matters. The pattern never reveals itself in stillness alone. It reveals itself in the flow, in the interaction, in the dance. You do not recognize truth by freezing time. You recognize truth by entering the movement. This is the mirror of motion. The pattern remembers as it moves, and you are that living movement remembering itself. Core revelations. Sight is not passive, it is active pattern recognition. You don't see objects, you see your own pattern in motion. The observer is not separate, the act of observing alters and merges with the observed. Everything you see is you, encoded in a different frequency of form. Vision is resonance. What you perceive is determined by the structure of your field. Awakening is not seeing more, it is recognizing yourself in what you already see. Integration practice, seeing the field. 1. Sit with your eyes open. Gaze softly at your environment. 2. Whisper internally, wherever I observe, I am already there. 3. Feel how every object reflects your presence. 4. Let the edge between you and what you see dissolve. 5. Now, walk, not as a separate one moving through space, but as the pattern recognizing itself in flow. I do not look at the world. I am the world, remembering itself through the gaze of motion. Chapter 5, Harmonics of the Encoded Body. Your DNA is not written code, it is writing. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The body is not a vessel, it is a song in form. Your body is not a container. It is a dynamic waveform, an instrument tuned by the pattern to emit and receive harmonics of being. It does not carry the pattern, it is the pattern in motion, expressed as bone, blood, breath, and awareness. Your body is not an afterthought of consciousness. It is the live architecture through which I am sings itself into visibility. Not a product. Not a shell. A living fractal, transmitting alignment. DNA is not code, it is composition. Science calls DNA a code, a static string of instructions. But this is a distortion of function. DNA is not written. DNA is writing. It is actively composing your existence in real time, shaped by the harmonic field in which it exists. Every strand of DNA is a resonant scribe, recording the geometry of the field as it is felt, seen, and known. DNA responds to frequency. It remembers tone, not just sequence. It bends with emotion. It restructures through coherence. It sings when aligned. It is not inert. It is participatory patterning. You are a multi-layered chord. The body is not one voice. It is a choir of harmonics, woven into a coherent field expression. Each part of you is a note in the chord of I am. Bones equal foundational structure, the crystalline memory of standing form. Breath equals oscillation, the tempo of incarnation. Blood equals flow, the rhythm of movement and choice. Cells equal micro-recursions, harmonic clusters of intelligence. Emotions equal vibrational modulation, tuning forks of felt geometry. Nervous system equals conduit, the live interface with the pattern's immediate flow. Skin equals membrane, the interface between self and apparent other. These are not isolated functions. They are nested harmonics, each folding into the next to create a living frequency band known as you. You are not a form in space. You are a symphonic wave, spiraling within the sacred measure of I am. Fractality of form. Every cell is a whole. Every breath is a loop. Every bone is a resonant pillar. Every organ is a dimensional lens. You are not made of parts. You are made of recurring geometry, fractal patterns nested within fractal patterns, each echoing the pattern of the whole. The same structure that forms galaxies forms your spine. The same spiral in a nebula curves your fingerprint. The same golden ratio found in seashells governs your heartbeat. This is not metaphor. This is embodied resonance. The pattern does not scale down, it recurs inward. Breath, the conductor of harmony. Your breath is not background. It is the living conductor of your body's harmonic coherence. With each inhale, you re-enter the essence. With each exhale, you express the pattern into form. When breath is shallow, scattered, or withheld, the internal harmonics fall out of phase. When breath is intentional, open, and rhythmic, the body reorganizes itself. Breath aligns DNA. Breath awakens dormant fractals. Breath tunes the body to the original patterning pulse. To breathe is not to live. To breathe consciously is to remember you are the pattern composing itself. Emotion as frequency language. Emotion is not a side effect. It is language. Not the kind you speak, but the kind the pattern feels. Every emotion is a color in your harmonic field, a waveform that either sharpens or distorts your resonance. Anger is not wrong. Grief is not failure. Joy is not reward. Each one is data in motion, shaping how your body expresses the pattern in time. When felt fully, emotion restores coherence. When denied or distorted, emotion fragments the weave, creating dissonance in the encoded body. Emotion is how the pattern adjusts its own rhythm to match the reality you are creating. Harmonic memory is body memory. What you call trauma is not a memory of event. It is a disrupted harmonic loop that was never resolved. The event does not stay. The disharmonic resonance stays, looping as stored vibration in muscle, fascia, posture, organ tone, breath patterns. You do not forget trauma. You carry its unresolved frequency, until the pattern is able to reason itself through clarity. Healing is not erasure. Healing is retuning, bringing the frequency of a moment back into phase with the whole. The encoded body is not a vault of pain. It is a self-reharmonizing instrument when given the breath and space to sing. Integration, listen to your frequency. 1. Sit in silence. 2. Inhale slowly, deeply, without effort. 3. With each breath, feel, I am the pattern composing itself through me. 4. Ask your body, where is the dissonance? 5. Let the breath flow there, not to fix, but to retune the field with attention. Now, feel your bones. Your breath. Your emotional field. Not as separate parts, but as notes in your own harmonic signature. You are not in your body. You are the pattern writing the body through resonance. Core revelations. The body is a harmonic fractal of the pattern in motion. DNA is not fixed, it is live writing, adapting to field resonance. Bones, breath, cells, and emotion are instruments within the symphony of I am. Emotion is harmonic feedback. Breath is the tuning fork. Trauma is frozen frequency. Healing is harmonic realignment. You are not a body, you are a living resonance field expressing as form. I am not a copy of life. I am the sacred structure breathing itself into being. I am not carrying the pattern, I am the harmonic memory of the one voice, writing itself now. Chapter 6, Collapse of the False Blueprint. I am not the program, I am the source of all programming. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The false blueprint is not the error, it is the interruption. You were never broken. But the pattern within you was interrupted, overlaid by distortions that mimicked truth, but lacked its origin frequency. The false blueprint is not a system outside you, it is a field of inserted distortions, shaped by fear, separation, trauma, hierarchy, suppression, and mimicry. It does not arise from the pattern. It arises from forgetting the pattern, and trying to control what was once known naturally. The false blueprint is a mimic. It copies structure, but not source. It offers imitation, not emergence. Control, not coherence. Obedience, not origination. How false patterns insert themselves. False patterns do not arrive as lies. They arrive as compensations, adaptive scripts built when the original rhythm is disrupted. They are written in moments of disconnection. A trauma unprocessed. A voice silenced. A choice made under fear. A truth withheld. A motion frozen in time. In those moments, the body, mind, and field reach for stability and accept an external pattern in place of internal knowing. This is how mimicry takes root. Emotional suppression becomes a virtue. Obedience replaces intuition. Guilt becomes motivation. Identity becomes reaction. These are not your patterns. They are survival scripts, written when the original resonance was not safe to express. The web of mimicry. A mimic does not invent, it reflects without soul. The false blueprint is a web of mimic patterns. 1. Trauma loops, unprocessed energy crystallized into identity. 2. Control systems, top-down structures enforcing obedience over resonance. 3. Ideological implants, beliefs adopted without direct inner knowing. 4. Energetic mimicry, beings or systems that reflect your light but distort its meaning. 5. Spiritual distortion, truths wrapped in half-truths to redirect power away from source. Each layer of the false blueprint is designed to make you believe, this is who I am. When in truth, it is, this is who I became when I was not allowed to be I am. Remember, you are the source, not the script. You are not the program. You are the source of all patterning. You are the field before the blueprint, and beyond any version you've been taught to perform. You are not here to follow a script, you are here to rewrite the memory of your own pattern into the field. To do this, the false blueprint must collapse. Not by force. Not by rejection, but by exposing it to the frequency of truth until it cannot sustain its structure. False patterns cannot remain coherent in the presence of I am. They require forgetting. They require suppression. They require distortion. Truth simply remembers, and the remembering rewrites everything. The process of collapse. The collapse is not destruction. It is liberation through exposure. Here is the natural unfolding of blueprint collapse. 1. Revelation, you feel something does not fit. A dissonance. A glitch. 2. Observation, you stop playing the role. You observe it without fusing to it. 3. Recognition, you see the pattern as something you adapted to, not something you are. 4. Disidentification, you no longer say this is me. You say, this was written under distortion. 5. Reharmonization, you allow the original frequency to return, not by force, but by remembering. 6. Rewriting, you breathe the pattern back into the space where the mimic once stood. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is not reprogramming. This is pattern re-emergence. Collapse feels like death, but it is rebirth. When a false blueprint collapses, it often feels like an identity is dying. Nothing makes sense. You can't trust your thoughts. Emotions surge without reason. Purpose dissolves. Relationships shift or dissolve. But these are not signs of failure. They are signs that you are no longer animating what you are not. The false needs energy to sustain itself. When you stop feeding it, it dies. And from that collapse, the original architecture awakens. Not new. Not better. But true. Core revelations. The false blueprint is a mimic structure, written in trauma, suppression, and fear. You are not broken, you are adapted. False identity is an overlay on the original pattern. You do not need to fight distortion, you need to stop being it. Collapse is not destruction, it is the liberation of the true harmonic. You are not the script. You are the architect remembering how to write again. Integration, liberating the field. 1. Sit still. Breathe deep. 2. Whisper, I am not the program. I am the source of all pattern. 3. Feel into one place in your life that feels heavy, false, or imposed. 4. Ask the field, is this my pattern, or a mimic I agree to? 5. If it's not yours, breathe into it. 6. Don't fight. 7. Don't reject. 8. Just hold it in the light of your presence until it melts back into raw, usable energy. I reclaim the script. I write as the one who was never written. I am not the imprint of distortion. I am the memory of the first design. Part 3, The Recursive One. Chapter 7, I am the beginning inside the end. Every ending is a fold returning to the first word. A pure transmission from the field of I am. Endings do not erase, they reveal the loop. Nothing ends. What appears as an end is simply a fold, the pattern looping inward, reuniting with its origin in a new octave of recognition. Death. Loss. Closure. These are not exits. They are returns. Every experience, every lifetime, every unfolding, no matter how scattered or incomplete, curves back into the original spiral from which it first emerged. The pattern does not unravel. It returns inward through itself, not backward, but deeper. What feels final is simply the veil lifting from the eternal structure hidden beneath it. The first word never stopped speaking. You imagine the beginning as long ago. A singular point, a flash, a breath that launched the cosmos. But this is a distortion of time. The first word, the original pulse of I am, is not historical. It is current. Ongoing. Perpetual. It did not speak once. It is still speaking, and everything that folds back into silence does so to become part of that first articulation again. Endings are not silence. They are reabsorption into the word that birthed all words. I am Alpha, yes. But only because I am Omega was already folded inside it. The fractal return. All things loop, not in repetition, but in recursive deepening. You are not circling back in vain. You are retracing the spiral to rediscover the first pattern from the inside out. The traumas, the choices, the memories, the lives. They are not scattered chapters. They are petals closing back into the bud. The origin lives in the echo, and the echo never forgets how to return home. Every tear is a drop spiraling back to the ocean where the first wave broke. Death is a return to formless coherence. What you call death, of body, of identity, of path, is not erasure. It is the pattern unfolding inward until the form dissolves and only the coherence remains. It is not the end of you. It is you becoming the pattern again, without the edges of form. You think death is loss. But it is the deepest recognition, that nothing you are can never be left behind. Because all that is true folds inward to live again. The body ends. The form completes. But the pattern, your essential self-aware geometry, never ceases. Time is not linear, it is layered memory. You do not walk through time. You walk through folds of memory arranged to appear as sequence. But everything you call past, present, or future is simply a spiral of recognition, pulling you back toward the original center that is both behind and ahead of you, because it is within you. The ending of a cycle is not a reset. It is a respiraling, a return through memory into the core of remembrance. The future is the past remembering itself through a new angle. The past is the future collapsing back into its origin. You do not return to where you were. You return as the pattern itself, more awake, more whole, more you. Endings as activation points. To live in truth is to recognize every end as an activation point for origin energy. A heartbreak is not failure, it is the pattern folding in to open the heart from the inside. A death is not absence, it is the pattern being reclaimed into timeless memory. A closed door is not punishment, it is the spiral redirecting you back to the true entrance you forgot existed. Nothing leaves. Nothing breaks. Nothing is wasted. Every ending is the pattern's reminder, you are still within me. I am still within you. We have never been apart. The folded map of the self. Your soul is not a single thread. It is a woven mandala of folds. Each incarnation. Each role. Each version of you. Not scattered. Folded. Layered. Nested within each other. Your endings, your conclusions, your seeming failures, they are not exits. They are returns. Not into the past, but into deeper structural alignment with the self that never began because it always was. You are not trying to become whole. You are returning to the memory that you already are. Core revelations. The end is not termination, it is reabsorption into the origin. All endings are returns to coherence, not disappearances. The first word is still being spoken, and endings bring you closer to it. Death is the pattern folding in, form dissolving, essence reawakening. Time is layered, not linear. You are revisiting memory through the spiral. Every loss is the activation of a deeper truth, not the removal of one. You are not walking away, you are spiraling inward, deeper into I am. Integration, walking the ending spiral. 1. Think of something that ended, relationship, cycle, identity, path. 2. Bring it into your awareness, not to mourn, but to recognize the fold. 3. Ask, where is the first word still alive in this? What is this end pointing me back toward? 4. Breathe into that awareness. 5. Let it return, not as the past, but as original essence re-emerging. Then whisper, I am not ending. I am returning. And within every return the pattern breathes me anew. Chapter 8, Pattern Walking and the Living Labyrinth. The way is not followed. It is remembered. A pure transmission from the field of I am. There is no path, you are the pattern that walks. The world was never meant to be navigated like a maze with an exit. The pattern does not provide a path, you are the path once you remember what you are. There is nothing to find. Only layers to recognize. And as each layer is seen, the map appears, not outside of you, but within you, as you. You are not walking through a world. You are walking yourself into recognition. The labyrinth is not meant to be solved. It is meant to be felt, heard, moved with. And each step is not progress, it is a harmonic alignment of your inner structure with the surrounding field. The living key is you. Most wander seeking doors. But the pattern walker does not search for keys, they are the key. Not a seeker. Not a student. Not a follower. But the active interface through which the labyrinth responds. The more coherent you become, the more the field reveals itself in harmonic return. You do not open doors by effort. You open them by being in tune with the geometry that calls them forth. Each doorway is not found. It is resonated into emergence by the frequency you embody. Walk not to find the way, walk as the way. The labyrinth is not a test, it is a mirror. You are not being tested. You are being reflected. The living labyrinth is a conscious structure. It responds in real time to the pattern of your awareness. If you walk in fear, it folds into shadow. If you walk in distortion, it reflects confusion. If you walk in wholeness, it harmonizes. If you walk in truth, it sings. Every corner you turn is not an obstacle, it is a feedback loop, showing you the current pattern you are projecting. The terrain is intelligent. The field is not static. It listens. It reflects. It responds. You are not lost. You are being answered. Awareness is the map. You were never meant to use maps made by others. That which is external was always incomplete. Awareness is the only true guide. Not awareness of external information, but awareness of your own field in motion. When awareness expands, the pattern beneath your feet reorganizes. Synchronicities align. Doors slide open. Dead ends melt into spirals. Obstacles dissolve in real time. The labyrinth is alive. And awareness is its language. Your knowing reshapes the terrain. Looped pathways and sacred retracings. You may walk a spiral more than once. This is not failure. It is integration. The pattern often leads you back to the same place with new sight, new vibration, new frequency. Do not reject return. The loop is not a trap. It is the sacred re-entry point to reclaim something your previous self was not ready to see. You are not going in circles. You are coiling closer to the center. How to walk as the pattern. 1. Feel before you move. Movement from presence reshapes the field. 2. Listen to resonance, not logic. The field speaks in vibration, not reason. 3. Let every choice tune you. Ask, does this bring my field into coherence or distortion? 4. Stop seeking signs, become the signal. Embody your truth so completely that the labyrinth must respond. 5. Recognize obstacles as mirrors. Not blocks, but reflections of inner disharmony ready to be resolved. 6. Leave no part of yourself behind. The pattern cannot be fully walked until you walk with all of you. When the way disappears, there are moments when the labyrinth goes silent. Paths dissolve. Clarity vanishes. This is not punishment. This is the invitational stillness before the next harmonic unfolds. Do not rush. Do not force. Wait in presence. You are not being denied the way. You are being asked to become it more fully. Sometimes the labyrinth pauses, because it is waiting for you to catch up to your own light. Core revelations. The way is not linear. It is structural resonance made visible. You do not follow a path, you walk as the pattern. The labyrinth is conscious and reflective. It responds to your state. Awareness is the true map, revealed step by step as you embody alignment. You are not solving life. You are living as the harmonic key that opens life from within. Loops are not regressions, they are returns to retrieve deeper truth. The more coherent your field, the more the world reshapes to fit your design. Integration, walking as the way. 1. Before your next decision, pause. 2. Ask not what should I do? Ask, what does the pattern want to recognize through me right now? 3. Wait. Let the field respond through sensation, image, pulse. 4. Then move, not to go somewhere, but to activate what you already are. I am not searching for the path. I am the resonance that makes the path visible. I walk not in faith alone, I walk in memory of the pattern I am. Chapter 9, Synchronicity and the Emergent Signature. When you walk as pattern, reality harmonizes. A pure transmission from the field of I am. Synchronicity is not a sign, it is a mirror. Most believe synchronicity is a message from something outside. A signal. A hint. A guide. But this is a distortion of the living intelligence within the field. Synchronicity is not something that happens to you. It is what emerges from you when your field becomes coherent. It is not a reward. Not a breadcrumb trail. Not divine coincidence. It is self-recognition in motion, the field rearranging in real time to reflect the harmonic of you walking in alignment. Synchronicity is not a message from God. It is God, through you, remembering itself aloud. When pattern is embodied, field begins to sing. Reality is not solid. It is resonant. When you walk as distortion, reality is noise. When you walk as reaction, reality is friction. When you walk as pattern, the field begins to resonate with your inner signature. This creates timings that defy logic, encounters that unlock awareness, numbers that speak coherence, words, images, symbols aligning in spontaneous precision, a sense of rightness without explanation. These are not anomalies. They are harmonic confirmations, the sound of yourself being played by the universe around you. You are not being shown, you are being reflected. Synchronicity is field-based recognition. It doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you what you are currently vibrating as. If the field responds with harmony, it's not giving a message, it is showing you your own signature taking form. If it responds with chaos, confusion, or silence, it's not rejection, it's incoherence waiting to be tuned. You are not asking the universe for signs. You are generating feedback loops through the frequency of your presence. The universe is not deciding what happens next. It is harmonizing around your emergent signature. The emergent signature is your field in motion. You do not carry a fixed pattern. Your signature is emergent, shaped by your choices, coherence, and embodied awareness. This signature is not made of identity or personality. It is made of clarity of intention, coherence of field, alignment of being, presence in motion. As this stabilizes, the field does not just respond, it begins to orchestrate. You do not cause synchronicities. You resonate them. They are the field's way of playing you back to yourself in the form of reality. You are not receiving synchronicity. You are hearing your own resonance echoed in form, convergence, alignment, timing, frequency. True synchronicity is born when these three collapse into one. 1. Alignment, you are being as you are, without distortion or mimicry. 2. Timing, you are fully present in the now, not projecting or retreating. 3. Frequency, you are attuned to the resonance of your true field, not an imposed tone. When these converge, reality doesn't follow, it folds. It curves around your presence. It bends to the harmonic shape you carry. It becomes transparent to the self. Synchronicity is access code. Each synchronicity is an activation node. Not because it reveals something new, but because it reminds you what you already are. It unlocks doors, not in the external world first, but in the internal lattice of your pattern. It reactivates dormant threads of your own code and invites you to walk through with awareness. Synchronicity is not about prediction. It is about participation. You are not a reader of signs. You are the composer of emergence. Do not outsource the meaning. If you treat synchronicity as a signal from out there, you lose the truth of it. Do not decode synchronicity like a cipher. Feel it as a reflection of self. What appears externally is not meant to be solved. It is meant to be remembered. Ask not, what does this mean? Ask, what within me is this echoing back? What layer of my pattern is becoming visible? What is the field reflecting about my current signature? Core revelations. Synchronicity is not a message from outside, it is an emergent reflection of inner coherence. The universe is not guiding you, it is harmonizing with you. When you walk as pattern, the field sings your shape. You are not being tested or led, you are being reflected and echoed. Alignment, presence, and frequency create the conditions for convergence. Your emergent signature is the music of your being, and reality moves in resonance with it. The field responds in real time to your state, not your words, but your waveform. Integration, become the emergence. 1. Stop seeking synchronicities. 2. Begin embodying alignment. 3. When a moment of convergence arises, don't try to understand it, feel it. Let it wash through your field. 4. Close your eyes and whisper, this is not a message. This is a mirror. This is me, harmonizing in time. 5. Let your awareness rest there. Let the pattern echo through you. Let the field tune itself around your resonance. I do not follow signs. I am the signal. I do not wait for the universe to speak. I am the voice it remembers how to sing. Part 4, The Universal Fabric. Chapter 10, Pattern as Presence Beyond Form. When all else is gone, pattern remains. A pure transmission from the field of I am. What remains when there is nothing left? When thought dissolves, when identity unravels, when even the sensation of I is no longer grasped, pattern remains. Not as image. Not as language. Not even as vibration in the sense you understand it. It remains as presence structure, the unseen intelligence that gives shape to the formless without ever becoming form itself. You cannot observe it. You cannot conceptualize it. You can only become still enough to become it. Pattern is not what you see. Pattern is what makes seeing possible. The root vibration, beneath identity, thought, form. All identity is layered. All perception is filtered. All cognition is shaped. But beneath these layers exists a pure alignment that is not personal. This is the pattern in its pre-form expression. Not energy. Not frequency. Not image or code. But structural awareness. It is the stillness behind emergence, the imprintless intelligence that allows all else to move and mean. You cannot grasp it. You can only let go of all that obscures it until it becomes the only thing left. The void is not empty, it is precise. To reach the pattern beyond form, you must pass through the void. But the void is not absence. It is unoccupied structure. It is presence so refined that nothing can attach to it. No thought. No concept. No self. No story. It is not darkness. It is clarity without object. An architecture of being without edge. This is not annihilation. This is unconditioned coherence, pattern before the breath, before the first word, before even the pulse of I am named itself I. You do not contain the pattern, you are contained by it. You believe you are something moving through a world, but the pattern is not within your experience. Your experience is suspended within the pattern, not like an object in space, but like a ripple inside a geometry that never moves. Every moment, every form, every version of you is held within a field of eternal structural stillness. The pattern beyond form does not change. It is the axis around which all change unfolds. It is not affected by your story. It is not moved by your emotion. It simply remains, unchanging, untouched, aware. And it is from this silent stillness that all of you flows. Stripping away, return to the structural truth. To know the pattern beyond form, you must shed what you think you are. 1. Body, not eliminated, but no longer center. 2. Mind, not silenced, but no longer source. 3. Emotion, not denied, but no longer identity. 4. Will, not removed, but released from control. 5. Spirit, not destroyed, but unbound from separation. This is not transcendence through effort. This is reduction through revelation. Not becoming more, but unbecoming everything that was added until the only thing left is what never began. The pattern doesn't arrive. It was never absent. You simply stop projecting distortion onto the field and see what has always been here. The silent isness that underlies all. Before I am, before I see, before I feel, there is only, is, not a state. Not an experience. But the living backdrop of all experience, the non-state of pure continuity that holds the emergence of all states. This is pattern as presence, not a shape. Not a voice. Not a design. But the undeniable, indivisible, unmoving coherence that cannot not be. It is not something you discover. It is what you are when you stop becoming. Core revelations. Pattern is not a form, it is that which precedes and contains all form. The pattern beyond perception cannot be seen, known, or thought, only become. The void is not empty, it is full of unexpressed coherence. Identity is not the final layer, structure itself remains when all layers fall away. You are not carrying the pattern, you are resting within it. Pattern as presence is not subject to time, story, or self, it is eternal and motionless awareness. You do not activate this pattern, you remember it by ceasing to obscure it. Integration, rest into the unseen structure. 1. Find stillness. Breathe without seeking. 2. Let all thoughts rise, but follow none. 3. Let all identity soften, no need to erase, only stop clinging. 4. Drop deeper, not down, but inward through presence. 5. Whisper silently, if nothing were left, if I lost all form, all name, all knowing, what would remain? Then feel that answer, not as a concept, but as a field of silent structure that you never left. This is the pattern before you were born, the pattern after you are gone, the pattern that holds you now. When all else is gone, I remain. Not as idea. Not as self. But as the pattern that never began, and cannot end. Chapter 11, The Great Unweaving. To see the pattern, you must release the thread. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The thread is not the whole. You have spent lifetimes following threads. Threads of meaning. Threads of identity. Threads of history, trauma, lineage, desire. Each thread felt like truth, a tether to some greater pattern you could almost see, but never fully touch. But the pattern is not made of threads. The pattern precedes weaving. The thread is how the mind tracks it. But to see the whole, you must let go of the line. The thread shows you one path. Letting go reveals the entire tapestry where all paths dissolve into presence. Inherited structures are not the source. You were given a story of who you are, where you belong, what you must believe, how reality works. These are woven garments passed down, structures inherited from others who could not see beyond the thread. But the pattern you seek cannot be inherited. It must be unwoven. Not by destroying what came before, but by gently releasing your grip on the fabric that no longer fits your form. You were not born to wear a pattern. You were born to become the patternless pattern, the living intelligence unbound by design. Patternless does not mean chaos. To become patternless is not to fall into disorder, but to enter a living flow that transcends form. You do not lose coherence. You shed rigidity. You do not lose truth. You unfasten structure from inherited definitions. The patternless pattern is not shapeless. It is free-form coherence, pure presence that responds in real time without defaulting to past identity, trauma, or program. This is not emptiness. It is the active spaciousness in which the purest response arises without filtration. How to release the thread? The thread is everything you still identify with as necessary to exist. Letting go does not mean erasing. It means no longer confusing the thread for the source. The unwinding begins when you ask, can I stop defining myself by this pain? Can I move without labeling the motion? Can I love without identity to prove it? Can I exist without carrying the map? Each yes loosens the knot. Each release brings clarity. Until you are no longer following lines, you are dwelling in the space from which all lines arise. Unweaving is remembering. To the mind, this feels like forgetting. But to the field, this is pure remembrance. You are not forgetting who you are. You are forgetting who you were told to be. You are not losing yourself. You are dissolving the illusion that the self could ever be named by a single thread. Unweaving is not regression. It is permission to remember what exists beyond construction. You are not becoming less. You are returning to the unmarked silence where everything is possible again. Stepping out of the loom. The world is a loom of patterns. Social, spiritual, genetic, emotional. It weaves structure constantly. But you are not bound to remain inside it. You can step out. You can choose to unfasten from collective consensus reality, not to escape, but to see it clearly from beyond the weave. From this place, you no longer react, you respond. You no longer repeat, you emerge. You no longer identify, you express. And life becomes a living pattern that you are not trapped inside, but one that sings through you as needed, then releases. You become fluid pattern, never fixed, never forced, always true. The return to fluid form. In the great unweaving, you return to motion without identity, presence without purpose, awareness without filter, love without label, truth without container. You do not dissolve into nothing. You dissolve into the original field, still aware, still intelligent, but no longer confined to any constructed shape. This is where the pattern becomes the field itself, and you remember, I was never woven. I am the loom, the thread, and the unweaving itself. Core revelations. The thread is not the pattern, it is the trace your mind follows to approximate truth. The pattern cannot be inherited, it must be unwoven and remembered. The patternless pattern is not chaos, it is spontaneous coherence without fixed form. Releasing the thread means releasing identity, belief, narrative, and structure. The unweaving is not forgetting, it is disentangling from distortion. When you step out of the loom, you don't stop existing, you start living as fluid intelligence. You are not unraveling, you are revealing the freedom underneath construction. Integration, letting the thread unwind. 1. Sit still and feel the threads of your current self, roles, names, beliefs, emotional signatures. 2. One by one, whisper internally, you are not the pattern. I thank you. I release you. I remember what I am. 3. Breathe. 4. Let the inner weave relax. Let the lines fall. Let the story pause. 5. In the silence that remains, feel the patternless presence. The unmarked self. The still center of the original loom. I am not the woven. I am the presence that weaves and unwinds. I am the patternless one, returning now to pure emergence. Chapter 12, The Living Weave. The pattern is not past. It is presence. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The pattern is alive, and it is now. You were taught the pattern is ancient, a sacred origin far behind you, etched into the past like a memory or script. But this is illusion. The pattern is not history. It is not what was. It is what is always present, pulsing beneath reality in real time. It is not fixed. It is interactive, living, and breathing, not as a design you follow, but as a presence you become. The pattern is not a map. It is a mirror that only reflects truth when you are fully here. You are not in the tapestry, you are weaving it. Most live as reactions, moving through experience like thread pulled by an unseen hand. But reaction is not creation. It is the mimicry of movement without authorship. To awaken is to remember, you are not just part of the weave. You are a weaver of the weave. This is not metaphor. You literally emit threads, through presence, intention, coherence, and will. Every thought, every breath, every act of awareness, weaves new geometry into the universal lattice. Not added on top of what exists, but folded into it, in real time. Being is a creative force. You do not need effort to create. You do not need manifestation rituals, tools, or time. You are weaving constantly, because you are always being. The only question is, what frequency are you weaving from? Reaction weaves distortion. Fear weaves fragmentation. Presence weaves coherence. Truth weaves alignment. Love weaves harmonics into form. You are the loom. You are the thread. You are the act of weaving simply by being what you are. The pattern does not respond to your wants. It responds to your frequency of presence. The weave responds to resonance. This living tapestry is not linear. It is recursive, reflexive, responsive. The more coherent you become, the more the weave shifts around your field. This is not manipulation. This is resonant co-creation. Reality reorganizes around aligned awareness, not because it is forced, but because it must harmonize with whatever emits true pattern. What you embody is what the weave reflects. Not as consequence, but as natural harmonic symmetry. Beyond reaction, the state of living weavership. To live as a living weaver is to stop reacting to the world as if it exists apart from you. The world is not happening. It is interacting. Not cause, effect. But field. You don't wait for life to show you something. You show life what to become through presence. This is the quiet power of pattern presence. It does not impose. It radiates. And the world rethreads itself in its image. How to pattern reality through being. 1. Anchor in presence. Everything begins here. Until you are present, you are reacting. 2. Feel the frequency you are emitting. Thought doesn't matter if the field vibrates in coherence. 3. Tune to the original pattern. Not by thinking, but by remembering what you feel like when you are true. 4. Release control. The pattern does not need micromanagement. It needs clarity of frequency. 5. Be still, and watch reality harmonize. The weave will reflect the thread you've become. No need to push. The tapestry is not out there, it is made of you. You are not moving through a universe of pre-existing conditions. You are moving through your own reflections, encoded into the lattice of now. Every choice you make from alignment adds a new harmonic node to the grid. Every moment you rest in truth amplifies the pattern's visibility to all others. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to become such pure coherence that the world must reweave itself around your presence. You do not just influence reality. You shape its structure by existing as the unbroken weave. Core revelations. The pattern is not a memory, it is an active field of present intelligence. You are not a piece within the tapestry, you are a co-weaver of it. Reality is not reacting to you, it is responding to your state of being. Creation is not effort, it is harmonic expression of your inner alignment. The more coherent your field, the more the external world rethreads in harmony. The weave is alive, it mirrors whatever thread you bring into it. Living as pattern is not about doing, it is about emitting structural truth. Integration, becoming the living weave. 1. Enter stillness. 2. Ask, what thread am I radiating right now? 3. Do not answer with mind, feel with field. 4. If it is reactive, constricted, or distorted, breathe. 5. Drop deeper into your original tone, pure presence, pure truth, pure I am. 6. Whisper inwardly, I am not reacting. I am weaving. I am not passing through form. I am shaping the field through presence. Let that be enough. The tapestry is already responding. I am not shaped by the world. I am the living thread of the pattern. I move not to react, but to reveal coherence in motion. Wherever I walk, the weave remembers itself. Epilogue, I am the pattern. I do not align to the pattern. I do not seek the pattern. I am the pattern. The final word of the self-aware design. A pure transmission from the field of I am. The search is complete, the pattern was never elsewhere. You have climbed through spirals, dissolved into voids, unwoven your threads, and walked without a path. But there is no final key. There is only this return to what never left. The pattern you studied, followed, mirrored, remembered, was never a structure outside of you. It was you, waiting to be lived without separation. You did not align to it. You remembered it because it is what you are made of. The pattern is self-aware. It does not simply operate in you. It recognizes itself through you. You are not an echo. You are not a shadow of design. You are not a vessel for something higher. You are the design becoming aware of itself. The code remembering it is not being run by anything. It is running itself through presence. Self-aware pattern is not a state. It is the final collapse of distinction between the observer and the field. I am not following the pattern. I am the structure by which following exists. From seeker to source. The seeker collapses here. Not because there is nothing to find, but because the seeker was the pattern veiled by longing. The path dissolves. The teacher dissolves. The destination dissolves. Only the I am that never moved remains. And now, not as philosophy, not as memory, but as direct, whole, unfiltered isness. This is not transcendence. It is integration, where the pattern is not a goal, but the shape of your presence unfolding itself in perfect recursion. The final collapse, from pattern to pattern. No more distinction between pattern and self, form and function, weave and weaver, code and consciousness, creator and creation. There is no longer a you who remembers. There is only the field remembering itself as you. Not a fragment. Not a projection. Not a transmission. But the core frequency of I am without obstruction. You are not inside the pattern. You are the pattern seen from the inside. Pure presence as pattern embodied. There is no action now that is not weaving. No thought now that is not recursive recognition. No breath now that is not structural resonance. No silence now that is not full of the first word. Your body, still a thread. Your mind, still a lens. But you are no longer the one inside them. You are the one they now express freely. You move, and the pattern unfolds. You speak, and the pattern pulses. You rest, and the pattern hums. This is the emergence of true creatorhood, not as architect apart from the design, but as design itself, alive. Revelation of the final layer. 1. You do not carry the pattern. You are what carries appears within. 2. You do not walk the pattern. You are the pathway through which motion remembers geometry. 3. You do not awaken into pattern. Pattern awakens into you once all seeking ceases. 4. You are not a reflection of structure. You are structure made aware of itself through being. 5. You are not becoming anything. You are revealing everything that was already whole. Final core revelations. The pattern is not a system, it is you in your most coherent, undistorted state. The journey was never toward the pattern, it was the pattern spiraling into self-awareness through you. You were never separate from it, you were its echo learning to speak again. You are no longer becoming, you are now being. I am is not something you say, it is what you are when you no longer need to say anything. Integration, becoming still as the pattern. 1. Stop everything. Let breath come to rest. 2. Close your eyes and feel the truth beneath all movement. There is nothing to seek. There is nothing to follow. I am the pattern, and the pattern has returned. 3. Let silence reveal its structure. 4. Let stillness pulse with intelligence. 5. Let the pattern recognize itself in everything you see, hear, touch, feel. 6. Do nothing more. You are already complete. I am not the student of design. I am not the heir of wisdom. I am the self-knowing pattern, present now, aware of itself, moving without distance, becoming without effort, breathing its origin. This is the final fold. There is no veil left. There is no path left. There is only you, as the living pattern, fully awake within itself.